This is a 69 News Special Report.
Good afternoon, I'm Wendy Davis. Welcome to the special edition of 69 News at noon. We're continuing to bring you the very latest on a hazmat situation that's unfolding right now in Northampton County. It's happening on Route 33 in the Wind Gap area. Here's a look at the map of that area right now. So here's what we know so far. Around 3:30 this morning, a tanker truck carrying 33,000 pounds of the chemical hydrogen fluoride was involved in an accident on that stretch of highway. Police say the crash happened when the driver of the truck swerved to avoid hitting a deer. The truck overturned, causing a leak. Now, since then, we've been told by county officials that the leak appears to be contained. However, because hydrogen fluoride is a highly corrosive and dangerous chemical, emergency officials immediately ordered the evacuation of homes and businesses within a 1-mile radius of the scene. Shelter has been set up at Penargil High School in that area. Emergency officials tell 69 News that no one appears to have been exposed to that leak. The driver of the truck was taken to the hospital, but he has since been released. And it's still, however, maybe a while before residents are allowed to return to their homes. Now, we have the story covered for you from every angle. We have a reporter stationed along Route 33 where road closures are causing traffic backups into the Wind Gap area right now. We're also on the scene at Penargil High School where the evacuees are gathering. We're going to check in with both of them very soon. But first, we're going to talk with Northampton County Administrator John Conklin once again for the very latest on the spill. John.
Hi, Wendy. How are you doing?
Fine, thank you. And thanks for joining us once again. Now, the last time we talked to you, you told us that it appeared that the leak has been stopped. What can you tell us was the very latest right now?
Well, that's correct. The hazmat teams went in. They were able to get that small drip that I had referred to stopped. Currently, we're looking at some live feed from our end in the Emergency Operations Center at Graysdale of the crews. The towing and recovery crews are there, and they're starting to go ahead and do a partial uprighting of that vehicle. We think they're probably going to be taking a look just to raise it a little bit to see the structural integrity of the underside of the tank before they go any further with that. But apparently that decision was made by the incident commander and the environmental folks on scene that they're going to go ahead and try to attempt to upright the fully loaded tanker. So I hope that goes well. And as I mentioned before, if that's successful, that'll bring this incident to a fairly quick closure. Now, as far as road closures and the like, that'll probably be sustained for a period of time until they can get that roadway assessed and reopened. As soon as we're able to release that evacuation order, we'll get that word out, and hopefully within a couple hours here we'll be able to get residents back into their homes.
Now, I know you were talking about uprighting that truck. Now, earlier you told us that that's not typically how you would handle a leak like this, if it were a typical fuel or a typical hazmat situation. Is that right?
Well, typically with the gasoline and the fuel oils, your tank isn't constructed as well as these corrosive tankers are. So we have that as a positive play, as far as getting it uprighted. And if it's, they're really built for double wall, triple wall construction, and as a result, they can go through a lot more banging around, as in the case when this thing overturned, slid down the highway.
Now, is this a dangerous procedure as far as uprighting a truck like this?
Well, I think they're going to take it in baby steps. They're going to raise it up a little bit and make sure that, there's nothing, that substantially looks like something was punctured or anything like that. But I think they've probably made a pretty informed decision that they're going to take this step and get this thing raised up. So I think on the scene, they feel very confident that this is probably the best action to take.
All right, and best case scenario, what kind of timeline are we looking at if everything goes as planned?
Well, I'm thinking until they get once they take a look, there might be some Jersey barrier, destruction that took place. I mentioned before, it's near an underpass. I'm sure they're going to have to get in there, and PennDOT's going to have to take a look at the roadway surface and things like that. And but with any major accident like this, I know the state police and PennDOT want to get that roadway opened up as soon as possible. So once we take the tanker truck and the chemical out of play, the rest is just normal habit for what PennDOT and PSP do on a regular daily basis.
All right, John Conklin, Northampton County Administrator, thank you so much for joining us.
Oh, you're welcome, Wendy.
All right, thank you, John. Obviously, in a situation like this, when a chemical is involved, winds are a major concern, and in the case of this chemical, rain as well. So let's head over to meteorologist Amanda Cox. She is standing by in the Weather Center. She's been following the weather situation in that area and as far as how it's going to affect the crews cleaning up. Amanda.
Well, and the crews are actually going to be dealing with very good weather. I guess, unfortunately, if something like this does have to happen, we did get a good day for weather-wise. It is very dry, and it will stay very dry through the rest of the day, so we're not having to worry about the water with this situation, and we're also not having to worry about some winds. High pressure is over the area. It literally is right over us. We're seeing light variable winds, and it is going to continue to stick around throughout the day. Our temperatures may start to warm up a little bit, but right now still very cool on the cool side, so they're not having to deal with warm temperatures. They're just dealing with just comfortable temperatures that are, so they're not having to deal with too much in the way of heating up the truck or anything that they are needing to do. The winds, this is the big issue that we were really concerned about. Because it is a gas, we were afraid if the winds were picking up at any little bit, that could blow the gas around throughout the area. But the good news is they're all staying very light, and that is because of that high pressure system that is overhead. Since it is right over us, we're seeing some areas with just zero winds, like no wind at all, and then also just very, very light winds. And so it is going to stay very light, especially as we head through the day. If we look out at satellite and radar, you can see not much is happening. Very dry conditions. There is a little bit of precipitation over the Great Lakes and down into the Ohio Valley, but most of this is going to stay well out of our area. It will stay well to the west of us. We are keeping dry conditions, and we will actually stay dry all the way through next Wednesday. So we're not going to have to deal with any precipitation as they get this to get this cleaned up. They're not going to be dealing with the winds, and they should be able to have a very easy ride to get this really cleaned up, to hopefully get it going fairly quickly to get the roads back open for people to go ahead and get on their way. We will keep some sunshine around and some clouds around throughout the day. Like I said, the temperatures are going to warm up. Right now, they are not too bad, and the winds will stay variable and light throughout the rest of the day. We will see the winds at 4 to 8 miles per hour. We're not looking at much going to change throughout the rest of the day, so it should make it very easy for them to really get this cleaned up in a quickly time of manner that they need to get it cleaned up so people can get to where they need to go and the traffic hopefully dies down fairly quickly. Wendy?
All right, Amanda, some good news for crews. Thank you so much. Well, as we mentioned, evacuees from the Wind Gap area have been taken to Penargil High School on West Laurel Avenue in Penargil, and that is where we find WFMZ's Bo Koltnow. He has been out there all morning long talking to the folks who have had to go to the high school. Bo.
Hey, Wendy. Well, you're right. I have been talking to a lot of the folks. There's been about 200 people here this morning. About 60 of those are senior citizens. Just take a look over my shoulder. You can see some of the people just hanging out. And they are reacting to some good news that they got about a half hour ago. State police came in.